I've already talked about Age of Calamity. I made a video about this before. It's on my channel. I'll leave a link to it down below if you guys want to see it. But I honestly, when I made that video, I thought that was it. Like, I had made it a little over halfway through. I mean, I'd done a lot of the side quests. I didn't think anything else was going to change through the game. I thought it was going to be the same. But, man, this game really took me for a lot of surprises, which I still loved. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. I ended off this first video I did about Hyrule Warriors at the end of the second act of this game. By this point, we have Link, who's drawn the Master Sword. We learned who one of the main evil guys of this game, the evil sorcerer Aster. We kicked his ass in the Lost Woods. Really fun battle. We got to see Link go ham on the Gloom versions of these champions. And now, we are in the final stretches of this game. And if I thought it couldn't get more epic, it gets so much more epic, guys. Like, there's this cutscene where it's got Link and Impa and all these champions together. They're talking about their training. They're talking about how this is it, how their power will be able to destroy Calamity Ganon. It's a really epic cutscene to it. And it's one of those cutscenes that gets you pumped to continue on through the gameplay, to see it through the end, because you know it's gonna be epic. So, the third act, this is when the battle happens. This is when Calamity Ganon strikes. I mean, your Link, Impa, and Zelda, they're outside Hyrule Castle, and this is when Calamity Ganon gets unleashed. This is when he chooses to strike. You're playing as Link, and it is awesome. I mean, you're running through Hyrule Castle trying to get to King Rhoam, Zelda's father, and you're fighting all these villains that are in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, you're fighting the Hinoxes, the Silver Bokoblins, the Silver Lizalfos. Any enemy in the castle is there, and you're just slicing through them being a badass. It is like, with the music and everything that's going on, it has got to be one of the most exhilarating moments in gameplay ever. I enjoyed it so much. Just kind of like button mashing my way through the game, just fighting these guys, using the Sheikah Slate and everything I can to be able to break the shields of these enemies and to beat them up, and using special combos and whatever to, you know, slice your way through it. It is epic. I loved it 100% because the battle has started and it lets you know. So, as we all know, by the time Calamity Ganon awakened, this is when he infects the Guardians, so you actually get to fight him. And this has to be one of the saddest scenes ever in a Zelda game. I mean, this one Guardian, Link, protects Zelda from being blasted, and then to protect the others, King Rhoam, he slices one of the Guardians, and he tells Link and Zelda to flee, and Zelda's like, "That's my fault, we can't leave him!" And Rhoam is just like, "Link, you are my daughter's guard. Do whatever you can to keep her safe." So you have these two running away, and then you have King Rhoam and the soldiers taking on these Guardians, and there's this Guardian blast in the background as Zelda and Link are escaping. It is super sad, because you can only assume that King Rhoam died in that explosion. It's super sad, but it gives, like, you, like, a feeling like, alright, King Rhoam is dead. It's time to take revenge for this. It's awesome. So not only do we have the Guardians that have been infected by Calamity Ganon, of course we know that the Divine Beasts have been infected, but we get some of the coolest cutscenes of the champions fighting them, like Revali fighting Windblight Ganon in the rain. That is one of the coolest things. Also, Urbosa fighting Thunderblight Ganon in Von Boris. That was really cool too. Thunder and Lightning, it's probably one of the funnest challenges. It has the coolest cutscenes. I mean, not only do you get these fight scenes of the champions Urbosa and Revali fighting these Ganons, but also you get more time travel. You get Tebla from Breath of the Wild. He comes back to help Revali, and Riju also from Breath of the Wild, she comes back to help Urbosa. It's cool that not only this little A Guardian traveled back in time, but also the creators decided to have the descendants of the champions involved in this game. It was a really cool decision, and it makes that game much more cooler. So, after we have beaten this mission, after we've saved Revali and Urbosa, and have Riju and Tebla on our team, we move on to the next mission in the main goals of this game, which is Fire and Water. It's really cool too, because we also get the cutscene of Mipha and Daruk fighting Water Blight Ganon and Fire Blight Ganon. And what's really awesome is that we got the same thing, like Daruk's prepared to die after Fire Blight's beating him up, and Mipha's prepared to die as well. And then we get another time travel thing with Sidon. Sidon is awesome. Like, it's so cool that they put him in this game. And, like, we got brother and sister fighting alongside to fight Water Blight Ganon. It's awesome. You also have Jobo, or whatever that Goron's name is. I thought he was always stupid. But he's fighting along Daruk to fight Fire Blight Ganon. And to beat Water Blight Ganon, I used Urbosa, because with using her lightning powers with Water Blight, you just kick his ass. It's awesome. And with Fire Blight Ganon, I used Link, and I never really struggled with Fire Blight Ganon. He was like the first one I took out in Breath of the Wild. But with this, he was actually really hard. I don't know why, but he was hard in this game. Anyway, after beating him, we get a total of 2 new players. We got Sidon and this new Goron guy. His name's really hard, I'm not going to try to say it again. But in total, we have 4 new characters to add to our roster to play as throughout the rest of this game. It's awesome! Tebla was probably the funnest to play as in this game, like, funnest Rita. Like, Revali was really fun to play as too. But, like, if I compare Revali to Legolas from Lord of the Rings, Tebla is like Legolas times 10. Just playing little main quests for his training, little side quests once you unlock him. It's like, his abilities are awesome. Like, he can wipe out so many enemies using his different powers with his skill with the bow. It is super fun to play as Tebla. Like, he's my #1 choice. Really cool guy, really fun. As you come near the end of the game, another side quest that pops up. Well, it's one giant side quest, like, it's separated into 3 side quests. But it is awesome once you complete it, because one of the monks that Link fights, in Breath of the Wild to get the Master Cycle in the DLC, you can play as him. And he is no joke awesome to play as. Like, when you're in training, he's just kicking ass. I mean, right when you use his combos, he's making these giant silver spike balls, he's rolling them, he's destroying these bokoblins and moblins, he's rising up these shrines, he is super powerful, and he is super fun to play as. I love playing as him, just super fun. I couldn't help but laugh as playing as him because how easily he just cut through enemies. Perfect. It's awesome. Also, there's this one scene where if you break a character's shield, he'll make these two giant hammers appear, and he'll crush whatever enemy there is, which I thought was hilarious. Also, he's a little ball when he travels. Like, you know how each character has their own way of traveling fast? Like, most just run, or some do different things like Mipha swims, Daruk rolls. He's a little ball of light. I loved it. He's a super fun character to play as. Something I like about the final chapters of this game is that we see Zelda taking charge. I mean, in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, she has personality, she does her own thing. But in this one, we never really see her take command. Until now. I mean, there's this one scene, it's after this battle, and you got like the Rito, the Gorons, the soldiers of Hyrule, the Zora. They're all together, and Zelda's giving this big speech that they have to come together to defeat Calamity Ganon. And it's after that speech that Master Koga from the Yiga clan, he offers up a truce with all these soldiers that they're gonna work together to defeat Calamity Ganon. It's really cool. I wish they kind of had kept the truce in Breath of the Wild, cause yeah, it's fun, like sneaking into the hideout of the Yiga and taking all the mighty bananas and fighting these guys, but it's just so cool to play as Master Koga, or to fight alongside a Yiga clan member against a Bokoblin or whatever enemy you're facing. That was awesome. I wish they kept that. So, before the battle, we get this one cutscene of Zelda and someone we did not expect to see, which was King Rome. I mean, last time we saw him, we thought he had been blasted by a guardian. That was how he died. But no, he explains how he was able to use a piece of the Egg Guardian and he could escape. And it's this heartwarming scene of how he's apologizing to Zelda, how he always loved her even though he may have been tough on her at times. And Zelda just says that she always knew that he loved her, and she knew that he wanted the best for her. It's heartwarming, and especially for the Yiga, because he got Master Koga and all these Yiga crying. It's a heartwarming scene before the final battle, which I loved. I loved the tenderness moment before you go right into action. Perfect decision. So, after we get this heartwarming moment between Zelda and King Rome, we get this amazing cutscene in all of video game history. I mean, you got the soldiers of Hyrule, you got all the races of Hyrule, you got the Rita, Zora, Daruk, Gorons, you got all of these soldiers on foot, all lining up on Hyrule Field, ready for battle. And then that's when the Divine Beasts show up, and it's awesome, because you got Zidon and Mipha on, Varuda, and, they're like, it is time when we all come together, then we can fully destroy Calamity Ganon. And then you got, Revali and Teba on Valmetto, and Revali's like, it's about time we show what Calamity Ganon, the power that we have, and Teba's like, show us your power, Master Revali. It is one of the coolest scenes ever. And then Zelda gives this speech that it's their time to launch an attack on Calamity Ganon. It's now or never. Then they rush into battle. The whole thing, like, it felt like something at the beginning of Infinity War, you know, at the beginning when they had that fight at Wakanda. It felt strongly like that. It was awesome. Now, each character in this game is awesome in their own way, like Rivali, Impa. They're super fun to play with because not only as you've done the side quests, you've strengthened them up, but you have stronger weapons now. It is awesome. You're fighting Guardians, fighting Bokoblins, fighting everything on the battlefield of Hyrule. And one of the funnest characters is actually Sidon. I mean, the guy literally runs a shark to get around fast. Like, he has a shark made out of water that he rides on top of. His finishing moves are awesome. But if you use the Sheikah Slate to create bombs, like, it's like baseball, because he'll whack them, like, 5 times he'll whack them. He fights with 2 tridents. He'll do different things with each trident, but it's really fun to fight as Sidon, because he's really strong when you get him, but powering him up and running around with him on Hyrule Field fighting these guardians and other creatures that Calamity Ganon has created. It's just awesome. Fighting in the castle is cool too, as like Impa or soldiers or anything. Just the battle itself is amazing, and just the music to it's great. I was so hyped during this entire section of the battle because it was just fun. Each character had their own thing to do, had their own part to play in the battle. It was really cool. Anyway, there comes a point when Aster joins the battlefield, and we know by now he's the evil sorcerer that's trying to serve Calamity Ganon, do anything he can to please his master, and he ends up reviving the 4 Blight Ganondorfs, which really sucks. This is like the hardest part of the battle, but it's a really cool cutscene because Impa's trying to take Zelda away and Link is holding them off, and Zelda's like, Link's gonna die if we don't help him! He can't fight all 4 by himself! And Link's just fending him off. Impa's dragging Zelda away. Finally, Zelda pulls herself away, and this is when we see her power awaken for the first time. In the Memory of Breath of the Wild, that's the first time, but this is a prequel to Breath of the Wild, so this is the first time. But it's awesome. Not only is seeing her power awaken really cool, but she gets a new weapon, which is the light bow. It's really fun to go around the battle using it with her. It's a super powerful weapon. Seeing her use it for combos and final attacks and things like that, it's really cool. She's really strong once she gets the light bow in this game. The final section of this game, final chapter, is called For the Future of Hyrule, and at this point, you better have a good team put together. You better have a team that has strong health, high level, strong weapons, because this chapter is not forgiving. Like, you won't regain health at all unless you somehow level up during the battle. It's very, very strong enemies, black and silver, bokoblins, guardians all over the place, inside and outside the castle. I use Urbosa, Hetsu, Link, and Zelda to fight through this section, but it is hard, man. Like, at the beginning, you get this cutscene where the champions, they use their Divine Beasts to shoot beams at Calamity Ganon like they did in Breath of the Wild, except this is to weaken the barrier around the castle so they can actually get inside the castle. And while you're inside the castle, you're fighting these guardians and bokoblins and Lynels and every enemy in the game. And what is hard is that you even added the Blight Ganondorfs. So you all 4 Blight Ganondorfs, the Wizrobes, and every other enemy. You gotta be skilled to make it through this. And once you destroy all 4 Blights, that is when you finally meet Aster the Sorcerer. It's at this point we learn that Aster is able to get this far because he has this own little egg guardian corrupted by malice, and ends up, like, you have to end up destroying that one. But once you do, your little egg guardian gets corrupted by malice itself. So you got this fight sequence where Link has to destroy it. It's not hard to defeat, though the blows it does, like the blast from any guardian, it does a lot of damage. You gotta be careful around that. But its fighting pattern is really easy to learn, so you can destroy it really easily. But once it's destroyed, there's this really sad cutscene of Zelda running to it. She learns that through the past, she sees like a glimpse of the past, that she was the one that built it. Like, its name is Terrico, and she had it, she like built it like, oh, look what I made! And it turned out that, like, King Rome took it away from her. He thought it was a distraction. It's a sad cutscene, but we see that Zelda and Terrico have a history together. Like, that guardian was built by Zelda herself. It was actually kind of cool to see. Anyway, after fighting Terrico, we chase Aster to the top of the tower, where we're actually finally gonna get the chance to fight him. Not only him, but he's also made a Gloom version of Link, who's just as strong as Link, and you have to worry about fighting Aster and this Gloom version of Link at the same time, like break both their shields to take both of them down, and it's no easy task. It's really hard. But taking down Gloom Link can be easy, and using the right teammates, you can easily take down Aster. He's not too difficult to fight, but he can be difficult at the same time with the magic that he uses. It can be really strong if you get hit by it. The fight itself is kinda difficult, but it's definitely manageable. So, once Aster is defeated, he escapes to another part of the tower, which you go after him. And once you find him, he's like one of those sorcerers who's like, you know, in those movies where they're working for those big baddies, and they end up being betrayed by the big baddies for their power, to get more power, and it's just like that. I mean, once you find him, he's like, you can't defeat me! I was chosen by the great Calamity Ganon. I will destroy your world! And then he looks at his body and he's like being absorbed by Calamity, like the gloom of Calamity Ganon. So Calamity Ganon can have a body. And once he's absorbed, you go to a different tower where you fight this game's version of Calamity Ganondorf. This is the Calamity Ganondorf battle that we needed. That should have been in Breath of the Wild. It is just nuts, man. Like, we didn't need the giant robotic spider Ganon that has his face with a beard that turns into the pig halfway through the battle. No, we didn't need that. This is a fight that is worthy of being in a Zelda game. Oh man, it's even better than the fight in Twilight Princess with Ganondorf in Hyrule Field. It is just amazing. Like, Ganondorf is just this form of purple gloom, but he is giant. He's massive. Like, he's the size he takes in Ocarina of Time when he becomes Ganon. But it is crazy. He is crazy hard, man. Like, his attacks do like 8 heart damage, and they're hard to avoid too. It is crazy. Like, he has wings he'll flap at you. He has like claws like Wolverine he'll use to slash at you. And it's crazy, but once you are able to flurry rush him and break his shield and attack, you do little damage, but it is still hard, man. Plus, once you get him halfway through halfway damage, like, his fighting style doesn't change like most Zelda game enemies do once you get him to halfway. But the area around you changes. It becomes more like a Sheikah Tower area. But you still have to fight him the same way, same combos and everything, flurry rushes, like you took care of him in Tears of the Kingdom. And, oh man, I almost died. Like, Link only had 2 hearts left, Urbosa had 4 hearts left, Zelda had like half a heart left. I'm not ashamed to admit it, man. I beat him with Hetsu. And Hetsu, man, he may seem useless, but he's like one of the strongest characters in the game. I beat him with a tree, and that was awesome. This cutscene was amazing, guys. Like, the music is super epic. You know, it's the music at the end of the game. The final battle is at its climax. And we got Ganondorf, who makes one final swing at Link. And Link jumps and he runs off Ganondorf's arm. And, like, Daruk's like, "You go, this little buddy!" And Rivali just goes, "Don't mess this up!" And Link slashes down Ganondorf, and then he looks at Zelda, she nods, and she uses her power to like create this giant orb of light, which Ganondorf attacks, and it's this giant epic moment of good versus evil, and eventually we know that Calamity Ganon is finally destroyed. But the ending to that, oh, that battle was just super epic. 100 times better than the Battle of Breath of the Wild. I'm not afraid to say that. The Breath of the Wild fight is amazing, but this fight was so much better. Now, this has been no stranger to a Zelda game. There's always been sad moments at the end of games once the final boss has been beaten. And this is really sad. I mean, it's the champions saying goodbye to their future ancestors. It is super sad. I mean, the Goron's like, "This has been so much fun. I've learned so much from you, Daruk." And Teva's like, "I actually gotta see you for who you really are, Rivali. An amazing Rito. You really do live up to legend." And then you got the saddest bit where Sidon and Mipha are talking, and Mipha and Sidon are like, "Our hearts will never truly be apart. I will see you again, sister." Oh, that was the saddest one. It really is sad, because it's brother and sister saying goodbye really forever. But then they go back to their own future, and yeah, I know I say it a lot, that it's probably one of the coolest cutscenes in game history, but honestly it is. I love the cutscenes in this game. Super cool. I honestly would not have mind for the Zelda franchise to end with this game. Honestly. Like, you know, the future 4 champions, they go back to their own future, and then you got the current champions and Link and Zelda on Hyrule Castle, looking over a Hyrule field, and just not expecting what waits for them in the future. But it's all happy. I mean, the sky is clear. Calamity Ganon is gone. Honestly, it kind of makes Breath of the Wild unnecessary. Because Calamity Ganon is destroyed. The Divine Beasts have been freed. The champions are alive. Man, I would not complain if this is how Zelda ended. It's just a happy ending. Alright, that is the end of Hyrule Warriors. Guys, this is such a beautiful game. I would honestly put this in my top 5. My top 5 would probably go Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker, and Age of Calamity, because that game is that good. Alright guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and just watch more of these videos. I love making them. If you haven't checked out part 1 of this video, I'll leave a link below and give that one out. And Yeah, I can't believe it took 2 videos to talk about this one game, but I had a lot to talk about because I loved it. Anyway, guys, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.